I just love how teacher trainings nowadays are kind of adapting to the times of where we're at. And it used to be that people that took teacher trainings wanted to be teachers, and I find now that's not the case all the time. And I really love it. It's been really cool to have people come in not to think that they're going to teach, but just because they want to deepen their practice, but also understand the foundation of what they are learning and learn more how it can help them specifically. And also because people are training at home and practicing at home and on their own, which is what we teach people, right? Like, even if you're a teacher, you still have to go take classes, go to your teachers, you have to learn, but you also have to practice on your own. So there's that self-practice. And so for students to be home practicing on their own, you know, it can be really intimidating. But when students come and take a teacher training and learn more about the technique, I feel like they're finding it easier to have a self-practice and feeling safe at home. And so it's been this just kind of like new idea that I'm really thinking is awesome, that maybe we shouldn't call it teacher trainings anymore, because it's really just training deeper, understanding the foundation, understanding how you can use it on your own body. And then also there's that other side of how can you help support and teach it to other people. So, you know, there's still people coming in that want to be teachers, but I just thought it was really cool to like talk about and discuss how so many people now are coming in that don't want to be teachers.
Well, that's the thing. In order to become a teacher, you have to teach what you know.
Yeah.
How do you figure out what you know? You dive deep, you take a training, you do an immersion experience. So the first step anyway is going to be take that teacher training, do your 200-hour, get the information, and then put it into your body. Whether or not you choose to share it with others is irrelevant at that point. I think
Exactly.
You're totally right. There are plenty of people who come to a teacher training, and in that cohort, you're going to have just a fraction of people who say, I'm going to teach. And they might change their mind after their journey. You know, they might decide to go a different route, and that's great, but plenty of people come just, I want to do this for me. I want to do this to understand myself. I want to fill my knowledge well so I have something to give if and when I ever decide to do so.
Yeah. And a lot of people also come for their own practice, and one day they do end up teaching, which I think is really cool too. I also love that in teacher training mode, which we know because we lead teacher trainings and we've taken tons of teacher trainings, it's like, it's more than just learning the information. It's like just so fun to be a part of a group, and it's like, it's exhausting while you're there. You're learning so much. It's really, you know, creative at the same time as, you know, I feel like kind of intense in the sense of trying to memorize and understand, but then it's huge community opportunity. And like, it's overwhelming, and then when it's over, you're like, I don't want it to end. I want to be with you all day, every day, more. You know, it's like you get fed in a different way that we don't always get a chance to like live and hang out together all day and learn and support each other and lift each other up and become friends and help one another learn and help one another succeed. And you create lifelong friends. It's just so beautiful that even if they don't want to learn to be teachers, like they can come, create community and feel a part of something and feel loved and have a family.
They have 200 hours at least to grow together, to learn together, and there's so much power in that growth. Like they're in this same, you know, pressure cooker learning community environment, and they're doing it together, that they grow in leaps and bounds in so many other ways besides, you know, what are we doing in terms of yoga? And I think that really helps to increase the bond. So like beyond just getting your certification, beyond achieving your teacher training status, there's so much more that goes into the learning process. People learn so much about themselves and their personal journey and where they are in life. That's really a huge part of it.
Yeah.
That makes it so much more attractive than, you know, I got my diploma, which is amazing, and that's something to be proud of, but there's so much that goes into that one certificate.
Yeah. And the discussions that happen on the mat and off the mat and in between is just really incredible. And I feel like being connected and finding other people that are like-minded is really important, especially in today's age. Recently, I did this restorative training, and it's only 3 days, But it was really lovely because most of them didn't want to become teachers for it. They knew that they needed to slow down. They didn't know how. They don't have a lot of classes around them that offer restorative aerial yoga. And it was really cool because they were kind of timid at first, but then for all of them, it just felt so good. And there was conversations on how great it felt and how amazing it was. And then a lot of surprise on, I didn't realize how much I needed this. And then most of them said that. And so those discussions that popped up about more than just physically taking care of ourselves on the mat, like we all need to emotionally take care of ourselves, and having those discussions and being able to support one another through the healing modality of aerial yoga physically and mentally was really, really cool.
It's validating. It's just validating to come to a training with a group of other people that you don't know, or maybe you met them in the email that welcomed everybody, but you come and you meet them for the first time, and it's like, oh, hey, you share my same experience? Wow, like I'm not alone. And there's so much power in that, and it gives us the opportunity to be able to open up further. And unless we're able to open up in a way where we feel safe, where we feel validated, we don't grow. So like it's the perfect environment to grow when we're able to lean into that. I think that validation is really important.
Yeah, it's really cool. And I also wanted to go, I mean, there's also people that are becoming teachers, which is amazing and lovely and highly needed. You know, I know for me, it's like my purpose and my service to be a teacher, and I love it. I don't even know if I couldn't teach. Like, like even if I like something, it's just like, oh, this is so good, you should try it. Like, I can't help but, like, especially for me, it was always if something helped me, it was like, oh my gosh, well, if anyone else feels the way I do, and I just found a way to make myself feel better, like, I want you to feel better and help and support them so they can also try it. So I love teaching. It's definitely who I am, and I love teaching teachers that want to teach too, you know. But I wanted just to ask, you became an aerial yoga teacher, but you already are a teacher in so many different modalities. And I wanted to know what, or if the aerial yoga teacher training enhanced more than just you being able to teach aerial yoga. Does it change or enhance or benefit how you teach other things?
I mean, completely. Aerial yoga as a practice has really reminded me to lean into my support system. So I come from a mat-based yoga practice. I mean, that's where I started, and my practice has evolved over the years. I'm now a performance acrobat and a hand balancing specialist, and I lead trainings.
Amazing at everything she does.
I mean, I lead trainings now for aerial yoga with you. So I see it as all interconnected, but like the hammock reminds me to lean in. You have support. You don't have to do it alone. You can do it with a block, a blanket, a bolster, a yoga ball. You can do it with a hammock. There are ways to support yourself on this journey, however you decide to take it, because let's face it, sometimes we need the help to build our strength, but some of us, myself included, need help to remember to calm the frick down. And for me, that's what the hammock did for me. I don't know if you remember, but my first aerial yoga experience was at a festival in the mountains. It was the end of a long weekend, and I took like the last class that was available because everybody wanted to get into aerial yoga all weekend long, and every class was booked, and I found the last available spot somehow. And I don't remember the rest of the class, but I remember lying in Shavasana, seeing the blue sky above in the crack, in the opening at the top of the hammock, and just feeling so peaceful and so serene in a way that I hadn't experienced before. I mean, I'm super type A. In school, it was like I have to get straight A's, and then I had to get into good college, and I was always stressed out. The teachers would pull my mom aside and say, really, you shouldn't put so much pressure on her. And she's like, I'm not the one doing this. That's just how I operate. So for me, the hammock is that little safe space where I can let go and balance out the rest of the fire and the energy and the oomph and the power that I bring to everything else that I do. And it's a wonderful reminder to lean in. Now, I know after working with the hammock for years now that I can lean in and make things soft and supportive and restorative, but I can also use it to kick my own butt.
Yeah.
So it's a versatile prop. You just have to dive in and figure out how you want to use it.
Yeah.
And that is why I'm in love with it.
Yeah, it's like the ultimate prop. The prop is supposed to be there to support you and your practice for whatever you need, whether you need it to chill you out or whether you need it to bring some fire and make it burn a little bit harder or deeper, which I think is like so cool that like it can make yoga easier or it can make it more challenging. It's so versatile, making it accessible, or for those that are bored in yoga, it's going to make it super exciting, you know? And at the same time, like you said, for you, it was a tool for finding peace and calm. And that's, I think, what's really magical is there's holding on to it as a prop, but then there's the other sensation of laying in it for this floating sensation and getting to relax in it. And the hammock wraps you and holds you and hugs you. And I have people that say they feel light, they feel safe, they feel hugged, they feel loved. And just imagining people, even if it's for that 10 minutes a day, to feel calm or safe or loved is really huge. And so there's that element of using it as a prop, like how we use a bolster, a block, and a strap. But then there's this element of that floating meditation that is just so surreal and has been really powerful to a lot of people physically and mentally.
I mean, I agree with all of that. I hear a lot of that as well. One of the things that I didn't mention is, and you know this, it's the fact that the hammock will tell you when you are not activating the correct muscles. It is your check engine light. Like if you're in the hammock and you're doing something, and it doesn't necessarily have to be like that super deep, difficult posture. It can be anything where you're trying to create balance. But if you've got one limb in the hammock and one limb outside, unless you're engaging and using proper form, you're going to wobble. You're going to weave, you're going to weave left to right, back and forth, round and round. And the hammock's there as that indicator light to say, turn on your stabilizers, and then you can find stability. So it's great in that respect. It's a barometer for what you're doing, because sometimes we don't know if we're doing it right. If we're at home practicing by ourselves, it's like, is this correct form? Is it not correct form? Do I need to video myself to see what I'm doing? It's really hard.
No, it's really true. Like I always say, like it doesn't let you cheat, but it is true. It does allow you to practice alone or at home because it is that reminder. It shows you when you do begin to cheat, where sometimes we're not trying to cheat. It's just that it's easier to balance if I externally rotate my hip, and dump it down into it. But that's actually really not safe long term. So it will force you to go into the correct alignment and then help modify for you so you can do it wherever you are. And I think that's really huge, because a lot of times why it's hard for people to practice at home is they're like, well, no one's watching me and telling me what to do, which is challenging. It's challenging sometimes teaching when no one's there, because the people are usually the people that students give you the, clues on what to say.
Well, I guess that's why I like to be a teacher. I like to tell people what to do. I'm just kidding. I mean, that's partially
to protect
true,
them,
but to protect them. But I mean, it is nice because it's a teacher. It's a teaching tool. The great thing is it will tell you if you're not quite engaging, but it will still support you in that space.
Yeah.
But it's like I'm weebling, I'm weaving, I'm wobbling, I'm not steady. What do I need to engage? But the hammock is still there to support you through that part of the journey until you're able to engage and create more stability.
It awakens you so you know where you're at, gives you a clue.
Yeah.
Only if it's on a single point too. I guess this is like totally off on a different subject, but that's the beauty of the single point. Like I've been doing aerial for over 20 years, aerial hammock specifically, and I've done it on 2 points. I've done it on a single point. Starting in circus, we did it that way. But for aerial yoga, I really believe it needs to be on a single point because of that. Having it on a single point gives you that stability and that balance that you need, but not too much. It also forces you to stay awake a little bit internally. But it gives you that support so you can modify and work towards it. But it's not so much support that it limits you from progressing. So it gives you some to help you, but it also gives you some so you can stay awake, but you can continue to progress. And many things we're working towards not using the hammock or taking our way out of it. But that's one of the beautiful things of the single point is it's going to check in with you and tell you if you're cheating, if you're dumping your hip, or
Mhm.
it's going to help you understand if you're in the correct alignment and being safe for your body.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. I totally agree.
So besides liking to tell people what to do, um, why did you want to become a lead teacher? So like you took aerial yoga because you just fell in love with it, and then you started teaching it to students, but to teach teachers is like that next step.
I mean, I think it's just the next step in teaching. I mean, I love how my body feels when I'm turning on my strength, when I'm activating. I started yoga, mat-based yoga, because of a lumbar injury. And I was introduced to yoga, this was in my early 20s. For the first time, I was doing something physical in my body. Up until that point, I've always been small, but I wasn't even skin and bones. I was just skin. Like I had nothing. I was very puny. My dad would say, that I was not just skin and bones. I was just skin. Very, very small, teeny tiny girl, no strength. And I came out of college
It's
with
hard
the doctors.
to believe when you see you doing handstands on other people.
I've made strides,
Yeah.
and I've always been small of stature. I was born that way, but I had no strength. I didn't do anything to build strength. I did band and was straight A student and didn't really do anything athletic. And then in my early 20s, I had this lumbar injury, and my physical therapist said, you should take yoga. And I did yoga, and I fell in love. For the first time, I felt like, wow, there are muscles in here. You can't see them, but, I'm going to build on them. And I just fell in love with it. And I started taking yoga, and it got me out of pain in my low back. And I just kept up with it because I realized how beneficial it is to move your body with correct form and build muscle with correct form according to how your body is structured. We have this wonderful machine. It works a certain way. And along my journey, I got into partner yoga and acro yoga and acrobatics, and I met you along that journey. And this was just another tool, a way to tap into that strength. And I've injured myself. I come from injury. I broke my neck, not yoga related at all. And coming from injuries like that, it just became so apparent to me that proper form is required. Like if we want to have any longevity in our bodies, period, not just doing a practice, but like just to get up and be functional, walk up and down the stairs when you're 70, we have to treat our bodies kindly. And in taking classes on my mat in a group of people, I sometimes would feel like I'd have to put the blinders on because I see habits that over time can be detrimental. And me being that person, like, hey, I just want to help you. I want to show you how to do it in a way that will help you, to keep longevity in your practice.
Because yoga is safe, but only if done correctly.
Yes.
So like if you do yoga with alignment that's not suitable for your body and your level, and you do that with repetition over and over, you can actually create injury and pain. And I think that's what's really important is it's not about being flexible or moving. It's like actually functional movement and putting your body in the place that it is going to stay safe, especially when we do it with repetition because it's a lifelong practice. So, you're putting on the blinders because you see that there's potential injury long term, and it's like scary.
It is. I just want to wrap my arms around folks and say, can I give you some unsolicited advice? Here's a tip that might help you. So training to be a lead teacher puts me in the position where I've done the training, I've done more research, I'm in a position to be able to say, hey, if you're open to it and you want to take this training, I have these tips to offer you, I have these techniques to offer you. Because, when you go to a class and everybody's a student, who am I to come up to you and tell you what to do? We're all students on this journey, and I'm still a student, even as a teacher, but like doing the training, doing the work so that I know what I'm talking about, so that I understand that the techniques actually work. It puts me in a position where I feel I can safely offer that information to somebody else. And that's why I chose to do the lead training with you. So now I've got the information, I've got the background, I'm still diving in, I'm still learning about my body and, continuing to do the work, but it gives me a way of then offering that to other people. I mean, I'm so passionate about my physical health. I want my friends, my family members, my loved ones to be in the same position. And not everyone is, and that's okay. So the best thing I can do is do the work, lead by example.
And then teach teachers how to teach in a safe way.
Yeah, teach teachers how to teach in a safe way to their students, because let's face it, not all teacher trainings are built the same.
No.
They're not, you know, and we have standards out there and they're wonderful and they work to keep us safe. But like at the end of the day, not all trainings are built the same way. And I'm really proud of what Aerial Yoga has done. I mean, you focus on safety. You focus on how to do it with proper alignment and efficiency. Even when we talk about rigging, Greg comes in here and he's like, you only get one chance in safety.
Yeah.
That is it. You don't get a second chance in safety. And whether we're talking about, you know, a standalone rig or some other apparatus or the hammock or our body, I mean, it's true. We don't get a second chance. So let's do it right from the get-go.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess like you, I'm so passionate about how the hammock can be this amazing tool and prop and be used for physical and mental wellness, that I want more people to be able to take it. And so I want more teachers to be able to teach it. And we want to make sure that they're teaching it, though, in a really safe way so people can enjoy and have fun and have longevity and make aerial yoga their lifelong practice. And it's going to enhance their life and their body and their mind and their community. And that's the whole point of that ripple effect that we have as teachers. So it's really beautiful.
Yeah, let's honor that.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having a chat. And thanks for watching our chat and hanging out with us.
See you soon.